that's a very famous scene, as you say, for actors, and there are several very famous moments to any audience. Horse, my king for a horse, and of course now is the winter of our discontent. Those are going to, it seems to me, to have a resonance for an audience completely apart from the film, and they're going to kind of maybe take on more importance than they might otherwise have. You must, as an actor, be conscious of those famous lines. Are you trying to treat them in a fresh way as you try to treat the whole story in a fresh way?
Well, when I was playing Hamlet on stage, I went to see a Don, a teacher at Cambridge University, and said to him, "What am I going to do with this speech, to be or not to be?" And the Don said to me, "Oh, cut it. Just too difficult to cope with such a famous speech." And we see actors rushing onto the stage and getting the first lines out before the audience quite are ready for it, in the hope that they'll trip them unawares. And a little bit the same is true with the opening lines of the play of Richard III and the opening lines of our movie. Now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by this son of York. What's alluring about that speech and others in the story is that they are spoken directly to the audience. These are the inner, truthful confessions of the principal character who is about to organize the deaths of his brother, his brother-in-law, his two nephews, the Prime Minister, and I've probably missed out a few others. And he tells us what he's going to do. That's very disarming for an audience, and it's Shakespeare's way, I think, of stopping this dreadful story of blood and lust for power becoming just a melodrama, because the audience is actually drawn into it and becomes an accomplice almost of the leading protagonist, because they are privy, only they are privy to what he intends to do. He always speaks the truth to the audience, but only speaks the truth to them. And I'll be talking directly to camera as I'm doing now. And that's very unusual in movies of Shakespeare. Actors tend to dodge around this problem. To me, it's not a problem. I need the audience to confess to. I need their help. I hope they're going to be leaning forward in their seats, almost ready to answer me back. It's that immediacy which I think covers what otherwise might be difficult about those very famous lines.